Here we go, PARCA Section 2.2. This section covers Unix, Linux, Unix commands, Unix shell, the kernel, and Unix file system. Unix, or its derivatives, the primary one which is Linux, are used for high availability computers such as servers. It is a multi-user operating system, and this is achieved by using time sharing. It enables several users to access centrally stored data and programs simultaneously over a network. Unix is its own operating system. Unix was designed for servers and hosts, and Unix was developed 30 years before Windows. So Windows came out in 1985. 30 years before that would mean that Unix was developed in 1955. So I'm going to show you a Unix desktop, and you're not going to recognize it. This is a Unix desktop. It is all command based. If you've ever worked in command prompt or done any command line type stuff, this is what it would look like. You would not recognize a Unix operating system. Linux is a type of Unix and operates similar to Unix. Linux has its own operating system and kernel. It is the cornerstone of the popular LAMP server software combination. LAMP is Linux, Apache, MySQL, and Python. This makes it one of the most common platforms on the internet. As I said, Linux is an operating system, and the Android OS is based on Linux. Unix commands. This is a list of the commonly used Unix commands. You need to read this list and memorize it. There are questions on the certification exam that go like this. What does the Unix command cd do? And then you have 4 choices. So yes, you will be asked to know these commands on the certification exam. Unix shell. Shell is the user interface. Commands are entered by users from within the shell. Shell is a command line interpreter. And I guess I didn't specify this in the first slide, but this is primarily for servers. Servers run Unix. So unless you're working directly on the server, you probably won't encounter Unix. And in a PACS environment, only the most senior PACS analysts work directly on the server. So you certainly won't see this to start your career. If you work your way up to senior analyst, you may have to learn Unix and work directly on the server. The kernel. The kernel has nothing to do with the fried chicken. It is a customized version of the OS for specific hardware. The kernel is the main layer between the operating system and the hardware. It helps manage with memory management, file systems, device control, and networking. And that graphic really helps you understand that on one side you have the CPU, the memory, and different devices. On the other end you have the applications, and the kernel does the translation to allocate those resources to the applications. And then finally, PARCA wants you to know about the Unix file system. It's a collection of files and directories. It has the following properties. It has a root directory that contains other files and directories. Each file or directory is uniquely identified by its name, the directory in which it resides, and a unique identifier. It is self-contained. There are no dependencies between one file system and another. The important files are configure.sys, autoexec.com, and command language interpreter command.com, and all 3 of these files are checked each time the kernel is loaded. Thank you for watching.